Let's see here. Said the blind man. Oh, here we go. And we off. And it's another episode of you know what it is, the shield. And my man Rome is here and Los is on the way. And here we go. Here we go. None of it. But we still got a wonderful show for you guys tonight. And none other. I will introduce my co-host. And go ahead, Rome, take it away.
What's up, good people? Another great day to celebrate, another great to represent us for the Black History Month. Let's go, fellas.
Black history, black history. Kenya, baby. We in here. We in here.
So go ahead and start us off, Mr. Los. Start us off.
Okay, this topic today we want to talk about we're in the nature of Valentine's Day and also in the nature of Black history. We're gonna do a little bit of something special today, right? We're gonna talk about love, right? But before we do that, let's get into some more breaking news type stuff. Let's get into what's been happening in the world, right? And so we'll start off by talking about the Kendrick Lamar. And so let's start it off by talking about Kendrick Lamar. What was your thoughts? See, Rome had a lot to say, so I'm gonna let him go last.
Okay.
Glenn, what are your thoughts? Since you from LA and he represented your city, what was your thoughts when you first heard the whole Kendrick thing, man?
Well, there's a big controversy going on right now about how the Super Bowl is too black. And I'm talking about the halftime. And you got white folks and others complaining that they wanted to go back to how it used to be, where you get traditionally white artists, Caucasian artists, who are popular, maybe playing the guitar, standing up there, or whatever, something light. But they don't want to see Serena crip walking on global television. They didn't say that wasn't a good look. There's Serena crip walking and SZA and Kendrick and all that sort of thing. So it's been a big backlash. Now, for me personally, I'll just say for me, I enjoyed the Super Bowl halftime show with Dre and Mary and all of them. I like that show a little bit better. We had him and you had everybody on there just because it was just all of, basically that sound from back in the day. But this one was controversial. And I'm sure Jay Z got some feedback because he is the orchestrator of who's going to perform. But yeah, we had definitely heard that there were some people who their feathers were ruffled that the Super Bowl halftime show is too black, too hood. Now, y'all tell me what you think about that.
Go ahead, Roman.
Hey, hey, I appreciate that, Lim. You know what's crazy is what's up, Lo? Good to see you out here. Um, the crazy thing is, I always tell everybody if you're not a hip hop head, then you really wouldn't know what Kendrick was really going to do. And I know a lot of people say Kendrick Lamar. I just call him K Dot, meaning period. When you got the young girls, they say period. He's that dude when it comes to this lyrical thing. There's not many people that can really mess with dude when it comes to the lyrics and what he could do. He's so calculated is the word I'll use. He's calculated in everything that he did. See, we all know that Aubrey, Drake, as you all like to call him, he has a lot of poppy songs, all his different things, all up in the videos. But when you get into an arena without any gloves on, street fights is different from boxing. I always tell everybody that. You might can beat me in the boxing ring, but can you beat me in the street fight? Because the street fight, guess what? There's no rules. There's no rules. You got to be prepared when you come to a street fight. And so I'll say Kendrick was ready for the street fight, but he left everybody with so deep of a message that people are still dissecting things from the whole segment. And then keep in mind, it was only like 13 minutes. But if you really look at how he did the songs, how he went about everything, it was all strategic. So he made his stage out of a Sony PlayStation joystick. That's why you seen the X, the squares, the triangles, the circles. A lot of people was thinking it was Squid Games. No, ma'am. No, sir. That had nothing to do with that. We're talking about PlayStation. See, Drake is coming from the Sony people helping him to go out there and put that lawsuit out there. So he's always doing subliminal jabs. You know, in the boxing ring, you throw a jab, you got to feel a person out. And he threw the last haymaker, the TKO, with his song "Not Like Us" at the end. And so everything you do in there, we can dissect that thing. I'll be here for 3 hours telling y'all every single thing. I just to tell y'all, there's plenty of videos. Go in there and watch them dissect the thing. But the one thing that really stood out to me the most was when he had 50 brothers up there representing the U.S. flag. Now that was creativity to the nth degree, and he separated it, showing a divide because we call ourselves the United States of America, but yet we're the divided states of America. Whether y'all want to hear that or not, I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent. We are yet to be united. That's my take.
Ooh, that's deep. That's deep. Only thing I'll say, this is what I'll say about it. Shout out to Lo, right? She brought up a good point, and I'm gonna just piggyback off what she was saying. She said it's crazy because she think Michael Jackson put the Super Bowl on the map, which he really did. But if you remember how that came about, the Super Bowl was going on, and then Living Color came on, and they was at the same time as the Super Bowl, and they took a lot of viewers from the Super Bowl in Living Color. Damon Wayans them. They came and kicked it off. Keenan and Damon Wayans, they took a lot of viewers away from the Super Bowl, and they said that would never happen again, and they went out there to get Mike. And when they went to go tell their big brother Mike, the Super Bowl has been popping ever since. So to Lim point, I was looking at it from the glasses Rome got on. I was looking for a performance. And I thought somebody was gonna get up there and really get me on the show, like Mary J. Blige, Dr. Dre, pull out the drop top on the stage. No, he came to say, "Listen, I got your attention. So it's Black History Month, and you gonna listen to my message." And guess what? We ain't had no other choice but to listen to his message. And so at the end of the day, I think that was great. Okay, so piggybacking off that, I saw some real crazy too. This is the last thing I want to talk about, man, before we get into this subject. Lim, you know, Lim don't even know I'm gonna bring this up.
I don't.
Neither do Wrong. But I saw some on IG that really ruffled my feathers. Me. I saw a clip of Dwight Howard and his new fiance in the bathroom sharing a toothbrush. I could not believe what I was watching. So you ain't see that, Lim?
Nah, I ain't seen that.
She brushed her teeth first, passed it back to him. He brushed his teeth after her. And I was blown away. So I just want to be able to understand or think, have we ever seen anything like this, number one? And what are our thoughts about this in particular?
Let me go. Let me go.
Yeah, and we
Go ahead. You go first.
We ain't got to spend too much time on it, but I just want to be able. I saw it. It ruffled my feathers. I want to be able to throw it out to the guys.
I'll say this. I won't take a long time. We all know that they say scientifically the mouth is the dirtiest part of the body. That's just a scientific fact. So, with that being said, there's no way, unless we on the island, it's just you two left on this. You know, you got to basically do what you got to do in those survival situations. I just feel like the fact that you all have options out here, you know, I got a dentist appointment on this upcoming Friday. I could buy my own toothpaste, but they give me one. It's just part of the package. They give you one. It's like, why would I have to use yours? The dollar store is there for a reason. I'd have been in every city, major city. Everybody got the same, what they call Dollar Tree. You could go there and get you a toothbrush. So my thing, I think it was very uh, distasteful for them to do that because you got options to live a healthier life. That's my take.
Well, see, I didn't see this. And Los, you gonna bring it to me, boy. And here's the issue or challenge with Dwight Howard. I know this man's history, and y'all know where I'm going. Now, Cam Newton just interviewed his baby mama, I guess his first baby mama, and she actually confirmed a lot of the things that we knew about the wife. So it could have been anybody else you said shared a toothbrush, and that's nasty. But then when you think about the Dwight Howard and some of his proclivities, it takes it to another level. And I'm not gonna stay. I'm gonna stay out of there. I'm just gonna say this. That's disgusting. Like Rome says, I just went to the dentist, and every time I go, not only does she give me toothbrushes, she gives me nice big size toothpastes and the good stuff. And so I've got toothpaste and toothbrushes all over the place. So there's no reason why someone want to share my toothbrush and toothpaste. That's just disgusting. And I'm gonna stay out of Dwight Howard's backstory, and I'm just gonna say that.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. So let's jump right into this thing, if you will. So we'll start off with Rome. So I want Rome to be able to tell us about every great dream begins with a dreamer, right? So the premise is I want y'all to understand that I be like this is my personal opinion. I feel like we all have a dream. We ain't talking about Dr. King, right? We ain't even gonna bring him up. We'll all do fairness and respect. I love Dr. King, and I heard some controversial things about King too that they talking about releasing from the FBI files and all of that. So let's keep this on a positive note, right? We're gonna talk about dreamers, right? And some of the things, the great things we did here in the world in the past, present, future, right? And we'll kick it off with Ron. We'll let him go first. Who you got for us, Ron? That you want to shine the light on?
So today, good people, I want to represent the young ladies out there that's doing things, and I say young ladies, meaning whatever age you are. You're young in the sense of how you operate, how you do things. So the first young lady I'll bring up to the forefront today is a young lady, 12 years old, out of Connecticut. Her name is Enyola Shakuni, and she created the filters for the schools to prevent the viruses that's going around there. And that state actually gave her a grant for $11.5 million because it was such a great invention. And this just happened here in the last 2 months, right before Christmas time. So you all can look that up, look up the articles that's out there. So shout out to the young lady for presenting that to her parents, for the parents following her dream. She presented that dream to them, and they looked at it and patented and brought it to fruition. So that was the first young lady I'll bring up. The next one I'll bring up here, I don't want to say the wrong name. Her name is Autumn Lockwood. She is the associate performance coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. Shout out to the Eagles. Y'all just won the Super Bowl. She's the first African American woman that has won a Super Bowl ring, or she'll be getting a ring being there. So there are some women that's doing some things that was unheard of, um, in a long time, and especially in the forefront of today with so many different things that's going on. I wanted to make sure I shed some light on those two dreamers because you don't really see a lot of women get the opportunity to be in the NFL doing big things, but to be on the coaching sidelines, that's really big. So to gain the respect of the players, to gain the respect of the NFL, I want to give a shout out to her.
Appreciate you, brother. Come on, Linwood, who you got?
I got Reginald Lewis, entrepreneur, businessman, and he was the only, according to the reports, to be invited to Harvard Law School, and he never applied. So he was that sought out of a businessman that they came looking for him. And we talking about fellas, it's back in the 60s and the 70s. He was sought out. This brother believed in Reverend Jesse Jackson, that he wrote big checks to Jesse when he was running for president. For all those who don't know, Obama wasn't the first black man to run for president. It was Jesse Jackson. And Mr. Reginald Lewis believed in his campaign so much that he sent big checks to him. And not only that, allowed him to use his private jet. Yes, Puff Daddy and Jay Z wasn't the first ones to have a private jet. Reginald Lewis, a businessman, had a private jet in the 70s and 80s. And what he really did was set the table for everything. He was the first black man to leverage one of the major billion-dollar takeovers, global takeovers of one of the biggest companies in the world at the time, Beatrice Foods. And Beatrice Foods was Nabisco and about 36 other countries. He actually wrote a plan to leverage that deal, and he took that deal and was instantly a multi-billionaire in the 80s and 90s. Reginald Lewis was born in Baltimore in the hood. Reginald Lewis was a prominent young little entrepreneur. He started a little paper route. He made his first money and was successful at. He passed away unfortunately at the age of 50 from a brain tumor, but he left behind two beautiful daughters and a wife, and his daughters continue to keep his legacy going by having a nonprofit for young IT techs who want to get in that business and become successful. So, shout out to Reginald Lewis, one of the most prominent black men in America, one of the first billionaires in America who was black. We thank God for having people that we can look up to. What you say, Los? Dreamers. Reginald Lewis was a dreamer.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Who I want to bring up with, who I want to bring up is um, a guy by the name of Henry Brown, right? And the reason I love the story about Henry Brown because it's so creative, and I just feel like I'm creative like this. It's something I would have did, and I just thought it was like out of the box thinking, literally and figuratively, right? So my man Henry Box lived in Virginia, and he was a slave. And so he was a slave and he was on the plantation like everybody else, right? But Henry Brown came up with this creative idea. He said, you know what? I want to be free. And then everybody was like, we all want to be free. But my man was creative. My man got a box and mailed himself to freedom. My man hid himself in a box. No exaggeration. His name is Henry Box Brown. If you don't believe me, go look it up. And my man 1816, my man actually was in a carton box, put put the address and about the from and the to, and he was in the actual box for days until he got the freedom. And my man got the freedom basically in the box. And I'll let you read the end of the story or whatever, but I just want to let you know my man name is Henry Box Brown. And I think that's remarkable when you really, really think about his story and how he was able to get free. And it's just showing you at the end of the day that we all have some sense of creativity, number one. And number two, never give up on your dreams. I just think we all have dreams in life, right? I believe this is me. I'm gonna just throw it out there, right? I believe we all were born with a purpose, right? Now, some of us are following our purpose, and then some of us are being hard headed and we doing other stuff that we feel is right, that feel good, look good, even taste good, if you will. That's what we doing. Get on up out of that limb. But the premise is if you if you was to follow your real actual purpose that God gave you, then you can be able to operate in your gift. My brother Rob used to always, Lord love this one. My brother Rob used to always tell us this word, entelechy. He was like, man, what is entelechy? And so when you go look up that word, is when your gift reaches your full potential. So Michael Jordan is honest to say he reached his entelechy. That is why he great at basketball because ain't too much more he can do when it comes down to the game of basketball. So have you reached your entelechy when it comes down to sales? When it comes down to building a personal relationship with God or whatever you got going that you're trying to reach your full potential in. So I encourage everyone to dig deep, to remember those dreams you used to have when you was 8, 9, and 10. Did you give up on them because they too big and you feel like you can't do them without help or you can't do them alone? I encourage you and I challenge you to revisit your dreams. So let's park the quarter. Let's put the cord in the meter and let's park that right here and let's go off the dreams. Let's talk about Rome, some of the old dreams you had and how could you resurface them? Do you want to share the dream? Are you living your dream? How can we get back to our dream and get back on the yellow brick road, if you will?
Well, I definitely won't put all of the dreams that I have out there because I don't like people stealing ideas. But I will say this: there is one particular dream that I would like to bring to fruition. For me, I always look at it. Everybody's definition. If we talk to 20 people in the room, everybody's definition of success will be different. And I've gotten to a point to where, it's not cliche, it's just a reality. At the end of the day, uh, my definition of success is going to be, the measurement of what I did in God's eyes. So at this point, like I told y'all, I'll do an interview on here in May, and it's not about me anymore. It's about the people. It's about inspiring the people out there. It's about if I can only reach one person, because it ain't about me. I think about the guy who hid the talent, and he said, why you didn't do like them, basically. And he took the talent and gave it to one of the other gentlemen. My thing is sometimes, you might have your thing that you're sitting on because you think, hey, it's to this, it's to that, but it's bigger than you. And I always like to look at dreams and say that if your dream don't scare you, and if you could do it by yourself, it wasn't a dream. That was just something that was attainable, and you was able to do it. But a dream should be bigger than you, where you got to either partner with somebody or you got to partner with others to make the thing come into fruition. So at this point, I'm gonna do my part, and whatever happens after that. But if I can inspire just one person, that's what it's gonna be. And as far as what I see it being something worldwide. That's how big it is. That's my take.
I love it. I love it. I love it. What you got? What you got for us, Lem?
So when you said that, something hit me about all of the Black History Month and us taking pride in the individuals who have come before us and are trailblazers for our community. And what hit me was we don't know enough about our gifts and talents that have already been released into the world. Case in point, when it comes to our history and some of the accomplishments, most of the accomplishments that we've had and the impact we've had on the world, you could be surprised how many people like I've never heard of these people. I never heard of Box Henry, or I never heard of Reginald Lewis, or Jesse the Williams, the brother that invented the digital cell phone. This information is out there. There was a time, ladies and gentlemen, where you had to go to the library, and a lot of these books about these individuals weren't available. Now we got Google, Chat GPT. We got all of these formats where we can find out about who we were, who we are, and you'd be surprised. Some of the talents that reside in the past individuals also reside in us. And we don't all have to be athletes, celebrities, and entertainers. A lot of our greatest trailblazers went a different direction, made their mark in the world, and those marks are just as important and impactful as the ones we see on television. So my dream is to encourage others to continue to dream and to research some of the people that have really had an impact in our community, but most importantly, an impact in the world. You got this. Source.
You know what? I got a question, Lem, and not to put you on the spot.
No.
Me and Ron was talking about this earlier, so and it dawned on me. Let me ask you, right? From a brother that's from LA and from California,
Mhm.
I don't know that it's as accurate that you all took the Black History Month experience, or Black history in general, forget the month, Black history in general, serious. It's a lot of brothers I ran into from Cali, and I don't want to generalize. This is what I'm asking you.
Right.
What do you think when it comes down to Black history? Seems as though in 1852, I think California was like a free state. I know they had some enslaved with the Native Americans, and I know even the slaves here was doing gold mining and stuff like that back in the day, but it wasn't near about like it was down south. So I'm asking you, growing up, was this an important part of your history because you all migrated so much with the Hispanics, or like, because
I got you. I know what you're trying to ask me. I got you.
go ahead.
So first of all, let's start with this. There are no black colleges in California. Let's just do that, right? I was accepted to Howard University when I was coming out of high school, and hindsight 2020, I think my life would be a lot different had I accepted that invitation. I should have possibly, but because we don't have the history and the context for individuals who grew up in California, you got to remember a lot of the street names. This is,
Correction, there is one HBCU in California, but go ahead.
where is it at?
It's in LA, actually.
What's the
Founded,
name of
It
it?
just opened, right?
founded in 1966. It's called Charles Drew University of Medicine and Science.
Well, that's not. That's a
CDU
medical school, right?
is still a HBCU, is what I'm
No,
saying.
but it's not undergrad. I'm talking about undergrad, where you can go to undergrad. Like that's when you go to medical school. That's different. But my point being is this, and I didn't know that, but thank you for the information. But the point being is a lot of the street names here in California are named after Hispanics, and people don't even realize why. So a street like Los Cienega, Sepulveda, those were names after the original landowners of this state, where the Caucasians who came here took their land from them and those families to develop it into what it is today. So we learn more about pueblos and estates, Mexican estates, because you got to remember that's the origin and the history of California. That doesn't exempt us from knowing about our own people. But I went to an elementary school that was 75% Hispanic, to give you some context. Okay. And when we sung Merry Christmas, it wasn't Merry Christmas, it was Feliz Navidad, right? So now, so that's kind of the context. So you're right, Los. In a way, if you compare DC to Los Angeles to Mississippi to Alabama to other parts of the country, we are not nearly as attached to our history as young men and women who grew up in those areas. It's just a fact. It's not, it's not my opinion, it's a fact. And the fact that you just brought up John Drew Medical School is right here. I didn't know that, right? So so just and ignorance is something that's not knowing. Now you can look these things up. All these things are available, but I know I have a friend who went to Alabama. He went to Texas A&U, and I have another friend who went to Howard and Grambling, and their entire background and even how they approach things are very different based upon their experiences. My mom is from Mississippi, which is the heart of the Jim Crow South. I didn't grow up there, so I don't have the same experiences that she have about the overall context of the South. So to give you, if that answers your question, you're right. Yeah, we don't as a whole.
So I just don't want to be ignorant of this, and I don't want you
No,
just to
you're
throw
right.
out Charles Drew University does have undergrad
It's
too.
undergrad. Okay,
Yeah,
I didn't know.
so I don't want to just throw stuff out here on the internet. You know, that
Right.
ain't true. So it is a HBCU in LA, in your backyard, been here since the 60s, and we don't know about it. But the reason I'm asking you this, we didn't have an HBCU in Detroit or Chicago either, right? But it was a little bit different. And mainly because we understood, and it wasn't 70% Mexican either. I understand. We probably went to school with a little bit more Caucasians, and there was a lot of diversity. But the premise is it's important to understand your history. And so I want to be able to educate the people out there, whether you're in LA or not. It's important. You know, it's very, very important about the stuff you say, the stuff you do. Because I was just wondering, even because the N word was pretty popular, cool. You know, it was real cool in the 90s. Everybody said the N word. People still say it now, right? But the older you get, the more you start looking into, should I really be saying it? And especially, who am I saying it in front of? Right? And then what is the context of why am I using this? So I really want to be able to hold us accountable based on our history and based on our dreams. Let's stay on topic too about the dreams. It's important to be able to gravitate towards your dream because it's so important to understand Big Mama and them had a dream. But their dreams was something real simple that they couldn't even drink out the same water fountain. They couldn't even date or marry the person of the opposite sex. They couldn't, and here you are dating the Kardashians and all these other people, and you couldn't even be seen dead with them people back in the day. And so I talked to one of my uncles, and he was telling me, he was like, I like white women because we weren't supposed to have them. So I married one and the whole nine. Hold on, what? What'd you say, Uncle June? Yeah, I married one the whole night, and I dared somebody to say something to me about it. Man, Uncle, I mean, because everybody was scared of Uncle, and that's what he wanted to do. The premise I'm trying to explain to you is our history is very rich, it's very important, and I believe we all should take it extremely serious. It's one more story that I like to tell. I'm a storyteller, right? And I'm gonna tell this last one, and then I'm gonna pass it to Romy, right? And I tell this story all the time. I don't think I ever did it on camera. But it was another Brown, Lim, and this brother name was Big Brown. You heard this story? This is one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite stories, right? Low heard this before. This is one of my favorite stories of all time. I was in college and I took this literature class, and we had to read this story, and the story was called Big Brown. Right? Let me just tell you this real quick story. I'm gonna soup it up, right? It was a slave on a plantation. He was humongous, big dude. They used to always use him for everything around the slave house. But he had the heart of the owner. So the owner really trusted Big Brown. He put all his faith in Big Brown. Big Brown's job was to bring and gather all the other slaves to do all their job appropriately, right? And on time. So one day, the owner had a son, and the son was trying to impress this young tender. It's always around the girl. So he was trying to impress this young tender, and the young tender was like, he asked the girl, would you marry me? She said, I would marry you, but I just feel like you're not your own man. If you do something miraculous without your dad, I would marry you. But I just feel like you all up under your dad, and all of your money and your success come from your dad. So if you do something special, I'll marry you. And then he said, well, what you want me to do? She said, figure it out. And then he was like, figure it out. And then she was like, yeah, figure it out. He said, okay, I know what I'll do. I'll take my dad's prized possession, Big Brown. I'll take him and I'll let him free. I'll set him free. She said, oh, you'll do that for me? Then I'll marry you. And then so what happened was he grabbed Big Brown real early in the morning. And Big Brown was really confused. Where am I going? Shh, don't say a word. Took him, they got on the horse. He took them all the way to freedom, gave him a note, and Big Brown was gone free. Free! So he came back. The dad was disgusted. The dad was so frustrated trying to understand what happened to Big Brown. And Big Brown was gone, and the dad was pitted. He couldn't eat, he couldn't sleep. All the slaves was doing all the stuff they wanted to do. The plantation was in a muck, a rut, everything. He didn't shave. The man was depressed for weeks. And so they got married. They went on and got married, right? So Big Brown free. So one day, this was like a month and a half went past. One day, early in the morning, guess who came over the hill? Big Brown came back to the plantation. And so when Big Brown came back to the plantation live, Big Brown came there, and my man was so excited and happy to see Big Brown. He gave him a hug, he gave him the keys to everything, and everything was happy ever after, right? Big Brown came back, it was cool. So Big Brown got everything in order. He cleaned up the plantation, got everybody in order again, picked his cotton, all of the good stuff, right? And then so everything was good. He shaved. His son was married. They went to the wedding. Happy ever after. So 2 months later, he woke up in the morning and he came outside and everybody was gone. Everybody was gone. Big Brown and all the slaves. More of the story is Big Brown found his way to freedom, but came back and got his people and showed them the way to freedom. Huh? So all I'm trying to explain to you, that story saved my life because it showed me at the end of the day, Rome say, it's not about you, it's about the people. So my thing is he learned his way to freedom, but risked his freedom to come back and get his people. I ain't free without my people. So how many times? See, I ain't gonna lie to you. Henry Box Brown got free, and he left his old wife in slavery. He married him a white girl and went on to. I ain't tell you his story, so go read his story. It's different. But Big Brown came back for his people, and he was trusted so much so that he took the keys and took everybody with him. What you got for us, Romy?
Hey, no, hey, that's a good story, man. Since I've been on the women, I'm gonna stay with the women. That's pretty much a Harriet Tubman type of story, And so we all know and heard the stories, from school. And if you didn't know it from school, you was able to do your book reports and things on your own. But she had a very similar story. She basically believed that she didn't want to be enslaved all of her days of her life. And she decided, hey, I'm going to find freedom and I'm not just going to go solo. I'm going to go back and get more and continue to get more. And they said that she could have freed at least 3 times more than what she had. But she said they didn't even realize they was enslaved. Some people think they've been in so long that they think the fear factor comes in, like the TV show used to be out there. You let that fear set in and you start looking at this as, hey, I'm afraid to leave because I don't know what's out there. But that's where that dream comes in at. That's where that vision comes in at. You got to have something that's bigger than you that's going to push you to get from A to B. And you got to go out there and do those type of things because you can only imagine back in that days. I've been to some of the places where they enslaved people, the Mississippis of the world, the Virginias of the world. If you start seeing those fields, even some of those open fields now, and you just can only imagine how dark uh, those places were back in the days. There's still areas here in Metro Atlanta that doesn't have street lights. I can only imagine what it was like back in them days. There's a road. Some of the road names here is just mind blowing when you ride down these roads. Plantation, Five Forks, Trickham. Um, that was one of the roads they said that people would really think that they was getting away. They would go running down Five Forks and get all the way to this dead end that takes you into Stone Mountain, only to be captured by the guys on the horses, and things like that. So it was one of those things where you have the story that you just gave, Mr. Brown, Big Brown, Harriet Tubman, people who got to freedom and could have just been selfish and just focused on themselves and said, hey, I done made it. They went back and risked their lives and freedom time and time again to get more, and those who was willing and wanting to be free. So that was a good story, bro. I appreciate that.
What you got for us, Lam?
I'm gonna rock the boat. This is gonna be a real rock the boat. So when someone is in opposition to the slave narrative, the first thing they bring up, well, you do know there were black folks who owned slaves, and there were black folks who sold their own people to the colonists in Africa, which is actually true. I bring this up because opportunists are always a part of a community, unfortunately. And this is not exclusive to black folks. This happens in the Hispanic population. It happens in the Jewish population. For those who don't know, there were Jews who worked with the Nazis to sell off their own people, sell out their own people. So I bring this up when someone approaches you from this angle. It's I don't look at it as a situation where we're supposed to shrink and become small. No, you can look them straight in the eye and say there's opportunities in every community, but that doesn't doesn't take away from the accomplishments of those who fought for their people. It doesn't negate what was done in spite of those opportunities, right? We have to understand that we are human beings first before we're black, white, Jewish. And human beings are liars in their nature. We don't talk about the Bible. Let's go there. Sinful nature is to lie, to cheat, to steal, and to kill. So, with that being said, I want you guys to understand that we have overcome even those individuals who was working against us. And even now we say in our on this in this world that we live in, there's people who are working against black folks coming together and starting businesses and hospitals and so forth and so on. Speaking of hospitals, and I'll switch it over to you, Los. There's a wonderful movie that Dame Dash just produced about one of the first husband and wife, black husband and wife, to own a hospital in Rome's hometown of Detroit, Michigan. You heard about them? I know. It's a wonderful movie. Check it out. I go get more information about the name. I can't think of his name right now. But there was a husband and wife. They own a hospital, first black owned hospital. And it was very interesting that all the things that they said we couldn't do, the banking system, the hospitals, to own your own hospital, own your own bank, we've had all of that in spite of the opposition coming from outside forces. At the end of the day, there are no excuses for us. We have everything. God has given us everything: talent, skill, purpose, in order for us to accomplish everything that He sets out for us to do. Go ahead, Los.
No, it sounds like you rocking the boat saying we ain't slaves no more, and we far fetched removed from that, and we should be able to do everything we want to do because we done had a black president and we got black billionaires now. Is what it sounds like, and that is rocking the boat, right? And let me just take it from here, right? Pass the baton to me. Because what I'm saying to you is, it don't matter that Lim and I and Rome had slaves. The problem is they enslaved our mind, huh? Which I don't think we ever escaped from. So when you take a race and you don't let them learn how to read, right, you strip their whole history from them, not knowing what they tribe in their original language. When you coming down here and talking about Sepulveda and Feliz Navidad and Buenos Dias and Bon Dia, when you talking about all them different languages and we don't know ours, that's a shame, is what I'm just trying to explain to you. And so the fact that I want to go to the motherland and I don't know where to start is a shame, right? We could never get that back. So no, it is far removed from just slavery. It's about the people that died during slavery with the brutal way they died, not an old age, Romy, not a getting COVID. We talking about strange fruit being hung from trees. I raped your mother and your wife in front of you. I sold your kids to the highest bidder and made you watch. We talking about the number that they did on us, not just see when you just read about slavery, just like when you read about the Bible. When you read about the Bible stories, that's one thing. But then when you put yourself in that situation is another. Because when I could put myself inside of Lim's shoes to see how he may be feeling or how he might be feeling in a relationship, that's a little bit different from me thinking how I was thinking. I got to be able to take myself to Lim not knowing the history I know in LA, and then I'm not charging it to his heart when he send me something ignorant online of a black person that looked like a monkey and he think it's funny. You see what I'm saying? Like it's a difference because at the end of the day, it's just a analogy. You didn't do that for real. But some people out here ignorant enough that send you something ignorant and think it's a joke and funny. But then where's the humor if you think about the history of where it came from? That's the point where I'm going. What you say, Romy?
You bring y'all touched on some. We're talking about rocking the boat. There lies the problem when if we're going to teach American history, you can't teach American history without telling the truth, without speaking about the Native Americans, without speaking about their indigenous people, their whole system and way of being prior to being held captive over here and things of that nature. You can't speak about slavery or dismiss slavery because we didn't come over here on a cruise ship. This was not us getting on Carnival and to the left, with no music being played.
Not to the left.
we wasn't coming over here doing those type of steps and everything. They actually, it's been a proven fact that they said Amazing Grace was written based off of the hymns of what the slaves were singing during that time frame. So at the end of the day, when you hear and see somebody going through so much toil, so much trials and tribulations, they you're gonna come up with some songs, you're gonna come up with some different things. But for those individuals who made it over here, you're talking about greed to the nth degree when it's coming down to money, and you packing as many bodies onto a ship, and they're at the bottom, and you can only imagine. We're talking about naked individuals too. So we're talking about just the whole thing was inhumane. It was just, all about greed, like you just said, being sold off in front of your loved ones, seeing your wife have to go to a different plantation, or your husband uh, being beaten and taken away from their children and things of that nature. And keep in mind, even after all of that, promise the Emancipation Proclamation, the 40 acres and the mule. That's what the Kendrick Lamar thing, you heard him said the 40 acre, he hitting y'all with those subtle jabs because he knew on that platform, this is the place that you have no choice but to hear because you got people around the world watching this. And now people are asking questions like, hey, what did he mean when he said this? Did that really happen? See, America do a good job of hiding things. But guess what, folks? Pandora's box is open now. And now I'm riding past every school. They just was talking about dismissing Black History Month. And these schools got the Black History on the digital boards, live and bright. And I'm like, I don't recall seeing that last year. I don't recall seeing that the year before. It could have been there, but it's real prevalent, right before your eyes right now. And I think that, where we are today, to what Lemon's saying, I think we got a lot more technology in front of us. We got a lot more things that is out there, and a lot of more people know how to read today. It used to be a saying back in the days that said, if you want to keep something away from Black Americans, put it in a book. And the problem right now, we got a woke generation. Everybody knows what's going on. Everybody, you just can't get things past people anymore. So people are going to fact check you. They're going to go back and make sure that they know your A is A, your B is B. And I just think that since we're talking about the dream, keeping the dream alive, Dr. King's dream was to see us be able to hold hands and go to schools when they desegregated schools. You could go to whatever school you want, Yale, Harvard. You could go to Ivy League, your regular D1 schools, whatever you do. But you just definitely got to keep yourself involved within your own community and try to advance your dream as best you can.
Let me shake the boat. Let me switch gears real quick. Can you tell us? Can you tell us what do you feel or think about the holiday Valentine's Day?
Oh boy, you don't started something now.
I'm just saying we wrapping up. So I
No,
just
I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna since you asked me, I'm just gonna say this. Uh, what how you feel about your significant other and what you do for them, obviously, me personally, I don't think one day can encapsulate all that. I would just go. I'm gonna say it. I think Valentine's Day is great for the women in our lives. They look forward to it. It means everything to them. For some, not all, but I think if you, well, if you ask most men, it's like, hey, listen. You know, it is what it is. You should go out there and let me just say it. Go out there and do something for your wife. Go out there and do
Oh
something
no,
for
hey,
your
you
girlfriend.
out there, man.
But at the end of the day, I just listen. Valentine's Day is just another day. It's an excuse to buy somebody something. Let me let me take y'all back. Can I take y'all back?
Go ahead,
When
you
I
got.
was a little boy in elementary school, I never will forget this. They used to have those little Valentine hard candies. And they used to make us as kids go give like a little box of those candies to the girl that we was liking or feeling or whatever you want to call it. And I used to think to myself, this shit, oh, excuse me, this is stupid. Like what? I wasn't old enough to even understand what it was to like a girl. I was only 5 or 6. And they used to make us, I was like, why do I gotta do all of this? But I guess it. Some little girls in today are adult little girls. I'm gonna say it, and still want you to do that. So, fellas, let me say this to you: if you're married, if you're in a relationship, when your wife or girlfriend says, "Baby, you ain't got to do nothing for me," your behind better get to the store and get there quickly. Cause if you learn quick that you don't have to do nothing, it's mean I want something big. I want something bigger than you gave me last year.
So
So you don't come in here half stepping.
are you saying women don't speak their mind for real? And whatever they say is the opposite? Is that what you say?
It's the opposite. So they say, look, I don't want nothing. Baby, I'm just happy. You provide a roof over our head. You're a wonderful father. All they telling you is your butt better come strong. Don't come in here playing around. Come strong.
Okay, and that's from Lim, and that's for the people that celebrate or don't. We just want to be able to have his take on the situation. Rome, I'm gonna switch gears with you. I saw this new report that came out that said, listen very closely to this because this is a good one. Before we end, it say nearly half of the young men 18 to 25 have never asked a woman out on a date or her number in person.
Mm,
Read that again. Nearly half of the young men ages 18 to 25 have never asked a woman out on a date or for her number in person.
mm.
Oh wow.
Wow. Now that's a good one. So what I'll say is, man, that's a big stat right there to say that 50%. So that means, my
It's
man,
really, it's really 45%. That's why
okay,
it's nearly half. Go ahead.
okay. So we'll just round it up. So my thing is, when you look at almost half, so we got 4 men, we're talking 2 in every 4. And if that's the case, social media, that's their era, man. The Gen Zers, the millennials, they live in a different world. That's why my man Yo Gotti made the song. It goes down in the DM. Everything is going down in the DM because you can go into her inbox. Hey, I think you're beautiful. Um, do you have, a man? Blah 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 blah. And sometimes it's subtle, and sometimes the people might think the person ain't real if because nobody wants to be catfish. But
Mm.
that's their generation. So they don't think twice about jumping into somebody's DM. They'll wait to get to that uh, Starbucks or wherever it is, the Panera Breads, to meet that individual just to see if that person is real because they're going off of those photos, those things of that nature. So it's not so much alarming to me. It would be alarming if it was our age group. In their age group, it's their era. They live by social media. I have a challenge out there. I'm gonna rock the boat in a different way. If you are 18 to 25, I challenge you to fast away from your phone for a month. We're not talking about for work, we're talking about social media and everything like that. I guarantee you, the average person wouldn't make 24 hours because they live, eat, breathe, die, sleep by the cell phone. That's my take.
Man, I told my son 14. I said, man, I'll give you $100 if you give your phone for a week. He said, a week? He said, a day? I'll do a day. He's like, I'll do a day or two, a week. So when I and not that he hasn't done it before, maybe punishment or whatever the case may be. But the thing is, what I just want you, and I'm passing you, Lim, this last take on this. I want you to really conceptualize this. We are at the movies, Starbucks, or wherever the kids go now, the Sky Zone or the mall. And you mean to tell me I see a fine young tender, right? And she look good, and this is exactly who I like. And you tell me instead of approaching her, I'm gonna try to find her IG and slide it. So you mean I'm gonna miss this opportunity to go home? I'm talking about in the that you know what that's equivalent to, Lim? That's equivalent to actually going up to a girl in a room in a line. You standing number 1865 in this line of everybody trying to talk to her, opposed to being on a one-on-one to talk to her. That is what you really say. I'll come back to the DMV. The DMV. So instead of making an appointment to go to the DMV, you telling me I'd rather come in and stand in this long line. That's what you telling me. Because in the DM, everybody, and that's not really real. My son, and I hate to say this, I had to put my own business on blast. My baby boy, he 10. And my man was like, Dad, I was gonna get a Valentine, and everybody asking somebody. So he pumped. Cause see, my son, my youngest son, I'm sorry, y'all. I got him pumped. He been watching Saved by the Bell. He watched Family Matters. He watched all the 90s stuff. So he know what real relationships should before all this different stuff came out. I'll just say different. We're gonna say the different stuff. Before they trying to tell you you could pick your own gender and all that. Before all that, we had real 90s shows. That was real black and white. This or that. And so Saved by the Bell, Full House, Family Matters, all these Shatia and Tamara, all of that, Girl Next Door, Moesha, these was real life shows that you really had to approach. And so my baby ain't nothing. See, I get it right. They say 3 times. My baby boy ready. I'm trying to tell you, he gonna be ready. So when it comes down to, hey, go talk to her and get ready, he'll hit you with the and he'll be ready. Because that's what it's about. So I don't think he gonna fall into this 18 to 25 category or the 45%, is what I'm thinking. Go ahead, Lem. What you got?
No,
Close
I was just thinking about what you said. But guys rather go stand in line and be number 2005, right? Wait for her to get at her. Now, wait a minute. We got to do this. Let's go in there. So to piggyback to your stats, they say the average woman on Instagram is getting 50 to 100 DMs a day. I'm not talking about the Instagram, a day.
average.
Average. We talking about the woman nobody know. She ain't got a big following. She ain't no IG model. She ain't no celebrity, no model, no nothing. An average chick of 5 is getting 50 to 100 DMs a day. Hey, hard eye. You look good. Hey, sweetheart. Hey, mommy. Hey, so what happens is you kind of desensitize a woman because you're approaching them just like everybody else. And you may even be overinflating her value on the marketplace, which is a whole nother conversation. But most importantly, your best shot, fellas, is when you got a one-on-one. She can't run. She can't hide. She walking right there. She ain't with her girls. That's the time to approach. You got her undivided attention. By the time you get to the DM, every Tom, Dick, and Harry, and watch out, the athletes, the celebrities is in there too. You going against them. And you're not gonna win that fight, brothers. It just in this day and age, if LeBron, excuse me, if one of these single brothers get in their DMs, you're not gonna win that fight. So your best shot, fellas, is to learn how to do approach. And they have different approaches. There's a cold approach, which is not recommended for you young starters. And then there's the I got some eye contact, learning how to read a woman's body language.
So,
You
so
figure out,
hold on, Lim. I want you to say this for next week because that's going to be the topic. I want you to give them the whole breakdown.
well, yeah, I can't wait. This is gonna be a good topic.
Yeah,
This is
so
gonna be
next week, because so some women missed the opportunity. A
okay.
dude approached them and they said, I ain't interested, but they didn't understand the difference between that and the 2005 and ADM, and this
Right.
is real life. So I want to talk about the approach game. We're gonna name it something special, but it's gonna be the approach game, and we're gonna base it off these statistics that I just broke down. What you got, Rome, to close with?
Hey, in closing today, man, we're going to go back to the dream. Anybody out there, young woman, young lady, young boy, young lady, young man, no matter where you are in this nation, if it's a dream that you got to revisit, maybe it scared you. You know, maybe you thought, hey, it takes too much money. I just told you all earlier about a young lady, 12 years old. That's what I love about the youth today. One thing we can say about them is they live a fearless life. They're going to go out there and jump, whether they're a content creator, whether they out here doing OF, you know, without, regardless, they living their life and they living it, you know, and they living out their dreams. Since I'll leave with this, there's a young lady out there. We won't give her any pub, but the young lady has a little cooking thing. It's so many ladies out there hating on this young lady for doing her little cooking thing, and all she's doing is inspiring. Hey, all she's doing is inspiring you to cook in the kitchen as a young lady. How can we hate that? I would never hate on Los if I ain't know him. If this man is inspiring the brothers, hey, get out here on the grill, fellas. This is how, because he giving you the game. The man is showing you what to put on there. Oh, I'm vegan. Put your vegan stuff on there. It might not be on there as long because it's a vegetable, but at the end of the day, at least take the good in what the man is showing. We got so many haters in this world today, you can't even look at the good because of what it's come from. And one thing I'll say about this, oh, we just had. One thing I love about
Looking at that fool. Go ahead.
hey, no, one thing I say about sports. One thing about sports that you could always say, you might be sitting next to a white man, Indian man, but everybody's cheering as long as you representing the same team. So what I'm saying to you is, if we all got one common goal, which would be that dream, that vision, just imagine if all of us start coming together, because guess what? Los is stronger in something that I'm weak at. Lim is stronger in something that I'm weak at. So if we bring that together, that dream becomes a reality. That's my take.
I'll end with this, right? Big Mama used to say, and shout out to my auntie brother, but Big Mama used to say, you can't make no omelet without breaking a few eggs. And I'm gonna say that really, really clear because I want you to continue to go after your dreams, and going after your dreams require you to break a few eggs. So I want you to break the eggs. That means break your traditions, the stuff you're comfortable with. Get out your comfort zone and be able to go after your dreams. We love you. God love you, and we'll see you next week.
Let's go.